Alright, man, so I'm going to show you this little setup I have here to test out little game boards that mess up. So I put a speaker on here, have a jamma harness that hooks up into this control panel that's been modified. And this screen here, it's not vertical, I put it horizontal so I could test all kinds of boards from 60s, 412s, 621s up to 1001s, 2100 whatever, right? So I'm gonna show you a little bit of what we've done. We have a single 8-way joystick here. First player start, coin, second player start, and we have our 6 buttons here. What we have going on here is we have the 412-in-1 plugged in here, and we have the VGA cord and the 412. I'm going to pick this thing up really quick here, if it wants to. I think I just snapped this thing down, so I just double sticky side taped it. So I have a little power supply down there and all the wiring all taped up. So whatever wire tips we have exposed, we had to redo. So I'm going to show you guys some of this stuff. We have the power supply here. Has the field ground, the AC plugs. The black and white is plugged into the AC. The green is plugged into the FG. If you can see it back there. Hopefully it zooms in there. There you go, the FG. And then we have the yellow is plugged into the 12 volt. And again, I really don't want to be messing with that. Sticking my fingers in there, but you have your 12 volt. Your red 12 volt is yellow. Red wire is 5. And you always got to make sure you press the +5, or I'm sorry, hook up the +5 button in there. This little hole in here is your voltage regulator. So if your voltage is too low, you can higher it. And I usually recommend using 4.95 to 5.2, 5.02. Sorry, don't go any higher than that. You can burn out your board. So yeah, the red wire, make sure it gets plugged into the 5+ outlet. The yellow wire into the 12+, and the black wire coming from the jamma harness to the ground wire, not the field ground down here, but the ground wire that's in between these guys here, up in this little square. The field ground should just be the green wire itself. And so there's that. I wanted to show you guys a little bit of that and how it's supposed to all get plugged in. There are a couple little dip switches here on the side. You're going to want to keep this the little dip switch on the left side there, down in a down position to give you the HD clarity. While we're here, this little black adapter connection here is for a trackball plug-in. So if you ever want to do trackballs player 1 and 2, that's where they plug in. This is your test button. When the screen turns on, it asks you if you want to press a test button. If you press that, it'll enter a menu to allow you to adjust your vertical or horizontal. Sometimes when the TV, or I'm sorry, the monitor turns on and your image is upside down on your screen, it's supposed to be facing the player. One side should be down here so you could be playing correctly. And if it's not, all you got to do is turn on the machine. It'll show you I'll go into it here really quick. It'll show you a test button, and you can jump into it and change up the settings there. I'll let this thing turn on. And again, you just gotta be mindful of the tiny little button here. So I usually keep my thumb on that thing really quick, and or index finger. There it is, the little press test button. So I just pressed it, and it should go to a black and white screen, and it'll read. You should read all the jamma, IO, all the flip screens, starts, all that stuff. So right now it's upside down. Now this is pretty important to to keep in mind. When you plug this guy in, normally your lettering will be right side up. We actually flipped the screen to allow us to adjust the shape of the setting for the monitor to be a certain way. So when you do, sometimes you have a player 1 side or player 2 side on different sides of the machine, and at times once it's all installed, you want to be able to flip it. So this little guy, all you got to do is just highlight it with your joystick. You press the start button on the control panel here. Press the start button, and it'll flip the entire screen. So I have it set to be flipped this way right now, just because it's going out to a customer. So Just wanted to give you guys an idea of what this guy is supposed to be like. Now, there is one other thing. These game boards can also be powered up with a small power supply. So if you ever have a power supply burn out, you can actually use these small, it's almost like a small laptop or like hard drive power supply. And it has a little 4 plug connector, and it's a 5 and 12 volt. So I'll show you a game board here really quick that and where to plug it in. Now, if you do plug it in, you got to make sure that those red, yellow, and black wires that I showed you down there that are plugged in, you don't want to have those connected. So what you're going to do is plug this guy directly into this side where the headphone jack is. There's a little 4 plug connection, and you just got to make sure that there's these little beveled edges right here. They got to match up to these fellas. So they have a little bit of a beveled edge inside there, if you see it. There's a little corner here. So when you put them in, you got to be pretty careful. You don't want to press too hard so you won't break the little adapter connection in there. But you just plug it in, and it'll turn right on. I have noticed that a couple 412 systems, depending on where you get them, have the, we do a lot of repairs and that, but there's a lot of these guys that come in that have a green light and a red light, and some just have green lights, and some others just have red. And there's others that don't have an LED light at all, but they still work. It's strange. But yeah, just tons of different 412 ones that come in that we repair and do all that good stuff too. So just wanted to let you guys know how to use these guys. Obviously you have your little headphone jack there, your volume adjustment, and there is a small chip in here. That's another thing we could go over now. I'm going to pop this guy off. Usually I use a little screwdriver or something, but I'm going to pop this guy off. Now these little SD cards in here, has a tiny little SD card. At times during shipping, they come in and they're a bit loose, and it's just a little card. I mean, literally just a small SD card, and they're completely locked. So if anything ever happens to them and they're messed up, we can't fix them. So it's one of those things. If it's missing, obviously we cannot fix it either. There's no way of downloading anything like that. We don't do any of that stuff here anyway. But anyway, that's the little chip. Sometimes, a couple of years ago, we actually had to do a drive up to a customer that we dropped off one of their machines to. And it was about a 2-hour round trip, man. We went up there, went back just to go push that little card back in. So sometimes they don't work just because the card isn't in far enough. So keep in mind that could be a problem too, or an issue if you ever have a 412 and one that does not work. So there's that, man. So once you get to this this menu here, we're gonna press. Now, oh, there's another thing. While I'm here, I'll show you guys the menu. I'll flip this thing back over so you can kind of get an idea. You can go through here, and change out. You can actually test your joysticks, your buttons, all that stuff if you go into that menu. Once you're done, if you ever get a machine that's an upright, like a Miss Pac-Man arcade, that's a stand-up, you want to be able to go into here and press the start button to be able to play a single, an upright arcade game. Otherwise, if you do notice that your screen is flipping, upside down when the player comes up, that's because you have it in cocktail mode. So you want to make sure you have it in the upright position. So in the upright by default. So they usually come that way from the factory, which is neat, and that works out. Also the service menu, you want to jump in there. You usually want to have your free browse on and your stop timer on. That'll allow you to enough room and time to select a game before the timer clicks you into it, automatically jumps you into a game. And the music, man, the music, you got to turn that off, man, if you really want to get freaked out with that stuff. We actually have, it sounds like a little bit of funeral music going on. So we have the coin settings. Moving on. Coin recycling. We usually put it on no. Free play was set to yes. And we always need that third button to make that selection. So everyone usually asks about that. So we're going to go back to the other menu. And the other thing is just a coin counter, or nothing crazy. Coin counter to see how many coins have gone into this thing. This guy's only had 22 so far as a test. So flip screen, I gotta flip that again. Now I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna select the exit, press the start button, and we're going to jump it back into the game. We'll see you guys.